The parking spot next to mine has been empty for 3 weeks. Apartment 4B, space 27. I know because I've been counting. Every morning when I leave for work, I see that empty rectangle of asphalt and remember how I used to complain about his Honda Civic. Too boring, too practical, too much like Jason himself. Reliable to the point of invisibility. Now I park my BMW crooked, taking up part of his space because I can. Because he's not coming back to need it. Because I'm the kind of person who takes up more room than I deserve. I never thought he'd actually leave. Jason Miller wasn't the leaving type. He was the staying type, the fixing type, the we can work through this type. For 4 years, he absorbed every eye roll, every sarcastic comment, every time I introduced him as just Jason, at parties like he was a placeholder instead of a person. The morning he left was like any other. He made breakfast, scrambled eggs, wheat toast, orange juice in the good glasses, even though it was just Tuesday. I scrolled through my phone, barely looked up when he set the plate in front of me. "Morning, Brooke," he said, same as every day. I grunted something that might have been acknowledgement, kept scrolling. Someone from college had gotten engaged to a surgeon. Another was honeymooning in Bali. Everyone else's life looked like a movie while mine looked like a beige apartment in Charlotte with a man who thought dinner at Applebee's counted as date night. "I was thinking we could check out that new Thai place tonight," Jason said. "The one you mentioned last month?" "Can't. Drinks with Sophia." I didn't look up from my phone. "Oh, okay. Maybe this weekend then?" "Maybe." He was quiet for a moment. I should have noticed the quality of that silence, how it felt different from his usual patient acceptance. But I was busy hearting photos of other people's better lives. "Brooke, can you put the phone down? I need to tell you something." "I'm literally about to leave for work," I said, though we both knew I didn't need to leave for another 20 minutes. "Can it wait?" "No, it can't." Something in his voice made me look up, really look at him for the first time in months. He looked tired. When had he started looking so tired? "I'm done," he said simply. "I'm moving out today." I actually laughed. "What? Because I can't do Thai food tonight? Don't be dramatic." "It's not about Thai food, Brooke. It's about everything. The way you treat me, the way you've been treating me for years. I'm done accepting it." "Accepting what?" I was genuinely confused. "Jason, what are you talking about?" "We're fine." "No," he said quietly. "We're not." "You're fine. You've always been fine, but I'm not, and I haven't been for a long time." He left that morning while I was at work. Took his boring Honda, his sensible clothes, and his thoughtful gestures. Left the keys on the counter with a note that just said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." I thought he'd come back. They always come back, right? The safe guys, the steady ones, the ones who love you more than you love them. That's the trade-off. They get to be with someone out of their league, and you get security, stability, someone to handle the boring parts of life while you wait for something better. Except Jason didn't come back. Not after 3 days, not after 3 weeks. His number went straight to voicemail. His social media went dark. He vanished from my life as completely as if he'd never existed, except for the echo of his absence in every corner of my apartment. I should back up. Explain how I became the kind of woman who could lose a good man and not realize it until he was gone. The kind who mistook kindness for weakness, consistency for boredom, love for something I was entitled to rather than something I needed to earn. It started, I think, with the promotion I didn't get. This was 2 years ago, back when Jason and I were still in the honeymoon phase. Or rather, when he was. I was already starting to notice things. How he wore the same 5 shirts in rotation. How he got excited about things like finding good parking or catching green lights. How he was content with our life exactly as it was. My boss had promised me the senior marketing manager position. I'd worked 60-hour weeks, brought in 3 major clients, revolutionized our social media strategy. But the job went to Kyle, who played golf with the executives and had a penis which apparently counted more than performance. I came home furious that night. Jason had dinner waiting. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and salad. But he'd used the good plates and lit candles. I didn't even notice until I dropped my purse right in the middle of the table. "What's this for?" I asked. "Just thought you might need a nice dinner. Heard about the promotion. I'm sorry, babe." "You heard? How?" "Sarah texted me. She wanted to make sure you were okay." Sarah, from my office, texting my boyfriend. A new irritation flared, white hot. "Great. So everyone knows I got passed over. That's exactly what I needed." She was just being thoughtful. "Like you? With your little pity dinner?" He flinched. "It's not pity. I just wanted to do something nice." "Well, don't. I don't need you to fix this with carbs and candles. I need a boyfriend who understands that I should be further along than this. That we should be further along." "Further along?" "Yes, Jason. Further. I'm 29. I should have that promotion. We should be living somewhere nicer than this apartment. You should be—" I stopped, but the words were already out, hanging in the air between us like smoke. "I should be what?" His voice was quiet. Different, more ambitious, less satisfied with mediocrity. The thoughts screamed in my head, but I had enough sense not to voice them. Instead, I grabbed my plate and ate in front of the TV, leaving him alone at his romantic table for two. That became the pattern. Jason would try and I would dismiss. He'd plan weekend trips to the mountains. I'd complain about the lack of cell service. He'd buy me thoughtful gifts. I'd exchange them for what I really wanted. He'd tell me he loved me. I'd say thanks like he'd held a door open. The worst part was how he just took it. Never fought back, never called me out. Just absorbed each small cruelty with a sad smile and tried harder. His patience made me meaner, like I was testing how far I could push before he'd finally push back. "You're lucky to have him," my mother said during one of our weekly calls. "Men like Jason don't grow on trees." "I know," I'd say, while mentally cataloging all the ways he fell short of the mysterious more I thought I deserved. My friends were worse. They enabled every complaint, validated every petty grievance. Sophia especially. She was perpetually single, perpetually bitter, perpetually ready to tear down any man who dared to be imperfect. "He wore sneakers to Melody's cocktail party," I told her one night over margaritas. "New Balance?" She wrinkled her nose like she'd smelled something rotten. "Of course." "Oh, honey, you can do so much better. Remember Tom from the gym, the lawyer? He asked about you again. Tom from the gym who hit on everything with a pulse. Tom who probably didn't know my last name but definitely noticed my ass in yoga pants. Tom who represented everything Jason wasn't. Exciting, unpredictable. Probably terrible for me in all the ways that seemed appealing when you're drunk on a Tuesday. I never cheated. Want to be clear about that. I'm not that kind of terrible. I'm the other kind. The kind who stays faithful in body and cruel in 1,000 smaller ways. The kind who makes you feel alone while sleeping in the same bed. There was the birthday incident. Jason's 31st last year. He didn't want a big party, just dinner with a few friends. I forgot. Not maliciously, just forgot. Came home late from drinks with coworkers to find him eating Chinese takeout alone, a grocery store cake still in its plastic container on the counter. "Oh God, Jason." "I'm so sorry. Let me make it up to you. We can go out now." "It's fine," he said, and for once he sounded tired. "Kevin and Maria waited for an hour. I told them you got held up at work." "I was at work," I lied reflexively. "The presentation ran late." He looked at me then, really looked at me. "Your location services are still on. I can see you were at Barcelona Wine Bar. Caught." But instead of apologizing, I went on the offensive. "Are you tracking me now?" That's a little controlling, don't you think? I wasn't tracking you. I was worried when you didn't show up. I thought maybe you'd been in an accident." The genuine concern in his voice should have shamed me. Instead, it irritated me, like his worry was another burden I had to carry. "Well, I'm fine. And honestly, Jason, it's just a birthday. We're not children anymore." He nodded slowly, threw away the rest of his lo mein. "You're right. It's just a birthday." But I could see something shift in his eyes that night. A light dimming. I should have paid attention. Should have realized there's only so much dimming a light can do before it goes out completely. The social media thing was constant. I'm not proud of it now, but I curated our life online to make myself look better than reality. Posted photos of the flowers he bought me without tagging him. Shared stories about my apartment, my vacation plans, my life, like he was an accessory I could crop out at will. The comments were always supportive. "Yes, queen, living your best life. Independent woman. You don't need a man to complete you." They were right about that last part. I didn't need a man to complete me. But I had one who wanted to compliment me, and I treated that like a consolation prize instead of the gift it was. There was the promotion incident. My promotion, I mean. When I finally got it, senior marketing manager, corner office, $40,000 raise. Jason was ecstatic, bought champagne, the good stuff, made reservations at the nicest restaurant in Charlotte, told everyone who would listen how proud he was. "My girlfriend's a badass," he said to the waiter, glowing with secondhand pride. "Youngest senior manager in company history." I should have been touched. Instead, I was embarrassed. By his enthusiasm, by the way he said girlfriend, like it was an achievement, by how he didn't understand that his regular person job at an accounting firm made us look mismatched. "Let's not make a big deal out of it," I said, cutting him off mid-toast. The hurt flashed across his face before he recovered. "Right, sorry, just excited for you." "I know it's sweet, just tone it down a little." He toned it down. He toned everything down after that. The good morning kisses became good morning nods. The I love you texts disappeared. He stopped telling me about his day, probably because I'd made it clear I wasn't interested in the minutiae of audit reports and client meetings. I told myself this was natural. Relationships settle, the spark fades. What we had was mature, stable, adult. If it felt more like roommates than lovers, well, wasn't that what happened to everyone eventually? My therapist, the one I started seeing after Jason left, says I was sabotaging. That I was so afraid of being ordinary that I rejected the extraordinary love of an ordinary man. She's probably right, definitely right. But understanding it now doesn't bring him back. The last month was the worst. I could feel him pulling away, and instead of trying to bridge the gap, I widened it, stayed out later. Responded to his texts with one-word answers, rolled my eyes when he suggested couples activities. "Want to try that new escape room?" he asked one Saturday. "Seriously? That's so cheesy." "Okay, movie? Seen everything good." "Walk in the park?" "It's hot." "Brooke, do you want to spend time with me at all?" The question hung in the air. The honest answer was complicated. I wanted him to want to spend time with me. I wanted him to keep trying. I wanted the security of knowing he was there. But did I want to actually spend time with him? To be present, engaged, grateful? "Of course I do," I lied. "I'm just tired." "You're always tired when it comes to us." It was the closest he'd come to calling me out. I should have taken it as the warning it was. Instead, I sighed dramatically. "God, Jason, why do you always have to make everything so heavy? Can't we just exist without analyzing everything?" "Sure," he said quietly. "We can just exist." And we did. For 3 more weeks, we existed in the same space without really living together. He stopped suggesting activities, stopped trying to make conversation, stopped saying good morning. That should have been my wake-up call. Jason had said good morning every single day for 4 years, even when we were fighting, even when I was being awful, even when he was running late. "Morning, beautiful," or Morning Brook, or sometimes just morning, with a sleepy smile. It was his thing, as reliable as sunrise. The first morning he didn't say it, I felt oddly off balance, like the house was tilted wrong. But I didn't say anything, didn't acknowledge the shift. Just grabbed my coffee and left for work, pretending everything was normal. It wasn't normal. It was the beginning of the end. 3 days before he left, we ran into his ex at Target. Amy, the kindergarten teacher he'd dated before me. She was buying classroom supplies, her cart full of crayons and construction paper. Still pretty in that wholesome way that made me feel shallow for caring about designer handbags and highlighting my hair every 6 weeks. "Jason!" She lit up when she saw him. "How are you?" They hugged, brief and friendly. She turned to me with a genuine smile. "You must be Brooke. I've heard so much about you." "All bad, I hope," I said, going for joking, but landing on bitchy. Her smile faltered slightly. "No, all wonderful. Jason always spoke so highly of you." "That's Jason," I said, linking my arm through his possessively. "Always seeing the best in people." It came out like an insult, as if seeing the best in people was a charming but fatal character flaw. Amy's eyes darted between us, picking up on the tension. "Well, it was great seeing you both," she said, already backing away. "Take care." After she left, Jason was quiet. I filled the silence with criticism. God, could she be more basic? A kindergarten teacher buying crayons? It's like a parody of itself. "She's a good person," Jason said quietly. I didn't say she wasn't. "You implied it. You always do that, Brooke. Cut people down for no reason. What's she ever done to you?" "Oh, so now you're defending your ex?" "That's great, Jason. Really great." "I'm not defending anyone. I'm just tired of the constant negativity. Not everyone has to be lacking for you to feel superior." "Wow, tell me how you really feel." He stopped walking, right there in the parking lot. "You want to know how I really feel?" "I feel exhausted. I feel like nothing I do is enough. I feel like I'm in a relationship by myself, and the person who's supposed to be my partner treats me like an inconvenience she's too polite to get rid of. I should have listened. Should have heard the pain in his voice, the years of accumulated hurt. Instead, I turned defensive. "So leave then. If I'm so terrible, just leave." "Maybe I will." We drove home in silence. I stewed in anger, composing arguments in my head about how he was overreacting, how one little comment about his ex didn't warrant this drama. I was so busy being right that I didn't notice I was about to be alone. That weekend, his last weekend, he tried one more time. Made breakfast, suggested a farmer's market, offered to watch whatever I wanted on Netflix. I rebuffed every attempt, punishing him for daring to call me out. If I could go back, I'd shake that version of myself. Tell her to look up from her phone, to see the man in front of her, to recognize last chances when they're offered. But I can't go back. Can only move forward in this emptier life, in this quieter apartment, in this reality I created through 1,000 small cruelties. After he left, I tried dating. Downloaded all the apps, went on awkward coffee dates with men who seemed great in their profiles but lacked Jason's ease in person. There was the lawyer who spent 40 minutes explaining cryptocurrency. The CrossFit coach who criticized my form when I reached for my water glass. The entrepreneur who asked me to split a $30 check down to the penny. "You had the soup and the salad," he explained, pulling out his phone calculator. "That's an extra $4.50. I thought about Jason, who always grabbed the check without making it a thing. Who brought me leftovers from restaurants when I worked late. Who never kept score because love wasn't supposed to be transactional. 3 months after he left, I saw him at Whole Foods. I was buying overpriced kombucha and organic kale I'd probably let rot in my fridge. He was in the cereal aisle, comparing granola options like it was the most important decision of his day. He looked good. That was the first thing I noticed. He'd lost weight, gotten a better haircut, replaced his old sneakers with actual stylish ones. But more than that, he looked peaceful, unburdened, Like someone had lifted a weight off his shoulders, and I knew with crushing certainty that I had been that weight. I could have walked away, should have. But I'm selfish even in my regret. "Jason!" He turned, and for just a second I saw something flicker across his face. Not love, not hate. Something worse. Indifference. "Hi, Brooke. You look good." "Thanks, you too." Awkward silence. In 4 years together, we'd never had awkward silences. He'd always filled them with easy chatter, observations about nothing that somehow made everything feel comfortable. "I've been wanting to talk to you," I said. "Okay." "Not here." "Could we get coffee? Just to talk?" He considered this, really considered it. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Please, 20 minutes. I need to apologize, properly." He sighed, and for a moment he looked like the old Jason, the one who could never say no to me. "One coffee, that's it." We went to the Starbucks next door. He ordered his usual, medium dark roast, no room. I got some complicated latte I didn't really want, just needed something to do with my hands. "I'm sorry," I started. "I know that's not enough, but I am." "I treated you terribly." "Yes," he agreed simply. "You did." I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. That's the thing, Brooke. I told you what you had. Every day in 100 ways I showed you. You just didn't care. I cared. No, you cared about having me. You didn't care about me. There's a difference. The truth of it hit like a physical blow. He was right. I'd loved having a boyfriend, loved the security and convenience. But had I loved Jason? The man who brought me tea without being asked, who remembered every important date, who looked at me like I was precious even when I was awful. "I want another chance," I said, hating how desperate I sounded. "I've changed." "I'm in therapy. I understand now what I did wrong." "I'm glad you're working on yourself," he said, and meant it, because that's who Jason was. Genuinely kind even to people who'd hurt him. "But I can't do that again." "I gave you so many chances, Brooke. Every day was another chance, and every day you chose to treat me like I was disposable." "You weren't disposable. You were everything. I just couldn't see it." "But that's the point." "You should have been able to see it. Love isn't supposed to be that hard. Treating someone with basic respect and kindness isn't supposed to be something you need therapy to figure out." He was dating someone new, he admitted when I pushed. A woman from his running club. They were taking it slow, but he smiled when he talked about her. A small, private smile I hadn't seen in years. In a way that twisted my stomach. "She appreciates the small things," he said. "Says thank you when I cook dinner. Asks about my day and actually listens to the answer. Shows up when she says she will. It's nice being with someone who sees me as a person instead of a placeholder. I saw you as a person." "Brooke." He cut me off gently. "You saw me as furniture. Useful, necessary, but ultimately replaceable when you found something more stylish." We finished our coffee in silence. When he stood to leave, I grabbed his hand. "I loved you," I said. "I need you to know that. I did love you, in my broken way." He squeezed my hand once, then let go. "I know, but your broken way of loving broke me too. And I had to choose myself for once." He left me there with my half-finished latte and my full-blown regret. I sat in that Starbucks for an hour, watching couples laugh at inside jokes, wondering how I became someone who had all that, and threw it away for nothing. My therapist says I'm making progress, learning to recognize patterns, understanding my fear of vulnerability, working on being present. But progress doesn't bring Jason back, doesn't undo 4 years of casual cruelty, doesn't fill the silence where his good mornings used to be. I kept one voicemail he left me. From 2 years ago, nothing special. "Hey babe, running late, but I grabbed you that smoothie you like from the place near my office. The green one with the ginger. See you soon. Love you." 23 seconds of what I had. 23 seconds of being loved by someone who remembered my smoothie order, who went out of his way to bring it to me, who called just to say he'd be 15 minutes late. I listen to it sometimes when the apartment feels too empty, when the parking space stays vacant, when I remember what it felt like to be chosen every day and to be too foolish to choose back. The other day, Sophia asked if I missed him. Every day, I admitted. But he was so boring, she said, like that was the worst thing a person could be. No, I corrected her. He was stable. He was consistent. He was safe. And I was too stupid to realize those aren't flaws. They're the foundation everything else is built on. She changed the subject, uncomfortable with my harsh self-assessment. But I'm done sugarcoating it, done pretending I was anything other than a woman who had a good man's love and squandered it because I thought I deserved something more exciting. Exciting is overrated. Exciting doesn't hold your hair when you're sick. Exciting doesn't remember your mom's birthday. Exciting doesn't build a life with you brick by careful brick. I drive by Jason's new apartment sometimes. Not in a stalker way. It's on my route to the gym. His Honda is usually there, parked straight between the lines like he always does. Sometimes there's another car next to it, a blue Prius that probably belongs to the running club woman, the woman who says thank you, the woman who shows up, the woman who recognizes that a man who says good morning every day for 4 years is saying, I love you in the most dependable way possible. I don't stop. Don't linger. Just drive past and think about how some mistakes can't be undone. How some people only get one chance to love you, and if you waste it, they learn to love themselves enough to leave. How the most ordinary things, morning greetings, shared meals, inside jokes, someone who cares about your day, are actually the most extraordinary gifts life offers. The parking space next to mine stays empty. Other tenants could use it, but building management hasn't reassigned it yet. Every morning, I see it, and I remember. Remember Jason's reliable Honda. Remember the man who loved me steadily, quietly, completely. Remember how I had everything and thought it was nothing. My therapist asks what I've learned from this experience. The answer changes each session, but the core remains the same. I learned that love isn't just the big gestures or the butterflies or the Instagram-worthy moments. Love is someone saying good morning every day for 4 years. Love is being seen at your worst and chosen anyway. Love is boring and beautiful and steady and sacred. And I learned that when someone stops saying good morning, it's already too late to say it back.